but you are still completely responsible for it for the rest of your life.
If you really want to be successful, you're going to be able to do whatever it takes to reach that goal that you have planned out for your life. One of the best ways to get that goal achieved is by writing it down every single day when you wake up. So it's the first thing you think about when you wake up, and that will be the priority for your entire day. After you write it down, you're going to be thinking about it all day. And eventually you're going to get to the point to where you don't have to write it down in the morning because you finally completed your goal because of all the time and energy and effort that you poured into it, because you woke up in the morning every day and wrote down what it is you want to accomplish. And then you started thinking about how you can possibly do that every day, and eventually it will all pan out, and you're going to work so hard and focus every single day on how to better yourself so that you can come one step closer to finally achieving your dreams.
Everybody's got something that they're good at, and the hard part is just finding it.
Now, there's going to be some rough patches, that is guaranteed. You're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But it really matters is how you handle the highs and how you handle the lows. If you handle the highs great and then it comes to the lows and you're struggling, by all means, you need to find a way that you are able to pull yourself up from a failure or a time that you didn't do what you thought you were going to do, and figure out a way to keep pushing forward and make yourself able to adapt to a situation which you didn't think you'd have yourself in, so that when you become successful, you'll be able to look back and discover all that time spent was well worth it.
The minute they get on the radar, is the minute they get any level of success, somebody's going to come and try to cut out their knees.
I think, everybody's got something that they're good at, and the hard part is just finding it. And I found out early that I was a good salesperson, that I really liked business. Like I like sports. I read everything I possibly could, played sports as much as I could, just wasn't as good as I wanted to be. And business was the same way. As long as I could remember, I was buying and selling baseball cards, garbage bags, whatever I could find. But I was also reading everything I possibly could about business. And I was that unusual kid that I'd rather read about Ted Turner than go to the movies. And so I think that created a foundation. And my parents, my dad used to always say, I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm glad you're doing it. And so I had my ups and downs along the way, of course. But I just think that I just put in the time and was fortunate enough to really get excited about business, and that paid off benefits over the long haul.
Spent 7 years installing local area networks, writing software, doing wide area networks, and so I knew what a router, which companies' routers worked and didn't work, which companies' bridges and software worked and didn't work, which products were selling, which products weren't. And so I used that to my advantage, because back then it was a little bit easier because there weren't as many analysts covering everything. And so all these huge hedge funds, once they saw that I was killing it, they were like, okay, we're going to talk to this guy, and literally took my trading experience. I was making 85, 100% a year, and created a hedge fund out of it. Oh yeah, and then we just immediately sold it. So it turned out really well. But I did that now, and I'm telling you, the Peter Lynch experience is going to be interesting in terms of, okay, where do you shop? What do you do? What websites do you go to? But if you take the time to learn computer vision, neural networks and everything, that's how all the decisions are going. A lot of the decisions are going to be made, but all decisions are going to be influenced. And so if you really want to get to that point, if you look at some of the hottest stocks right now, NVIDIA, AMD, they're blowing up because their ability to create processors that are geared towards artificial intelligence and supporting the data centers.
Sometimes being young and trying things, you're so naive and you don't know any better. All you do is learn. And if you fail, it doesn't matter. And so whether I was 9, 10, 12, 16, 21, the failures were irrelevant. And whether you're 9, 12, 16, 21, 22, 24, I'm sleeping on the couch. I have a car with a hole in the floorboard. I'm living like a bum and like a student. And so what did I have to lose? And so I think that influenced me as much as anything. So it was, my dad was like, go for it. Why not? What have you got to lose? You have to sleep on a different couch.
Everybody's got one or two things that they're really, really, really good at, that they're wired for. And the hard part is just finding it and having the confidence to go after it. There's really two classes of people in the tech world. The person or people who invented it, and then there's everybody else. And other than the people who created the technology, everybody else is in the same boat. If you just spend the time to learn, whatever it is, well, you're competing with people who are having to do the exact same thing. And by reading the manual, by investing the time to try to get up front on technology, you can be ahead of the curve because most people won't put in the effort. And then I also learned, as you were mentioning, that in any company, that if the head of the company isn't focused on selling, there's a good chance that company's going to fail. To the point I just mentioned, technology comes fast and furious, and most people are afraid or don't take the time to learn or want help for whatever reason. And this was the early days of the PC industry, and I just put in the time and whatever it took. I couldn't afford my own PC, and so I would tell a customer that I'll learn the software, I'll install it, and I'll support it for you. Let me take your PC home so I can learn it, but I'll make sure it gets done. And then once you start learning a couple pieces of software, you get referrals, and I just grew the company and kept on growing and growing. And we made a couple right strategic moves. I always tried to ask myself, what's next?
Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and thank you all for watching.